So when it comes to healthy oils, it's near and dear to my heart because I almost lost my gallbladder, from experiences with bad cooking. I was from Indonesia, and they fried everything, number one, and they fried it vegetable oils. So let's just focus on that. That's most of the predominant of bad oils is fried vegetable oils. If you go to any fast food place, they use fried vegetable oil. Now I'm gonna sound kind of crazy here, but this is gonna be actually there's some proof to this. I was over at El Farolito the other day. I don't know if you know that it's a Mexican restaurant. And I said, "What do you cook your what do you fry your tortilla chips in?" And she goes, and they were, they were kind of you know um, ashamed, not ashamed, but because of the myth that cooking in lard is bad because it's saturated fat. When she actually said, lard, you know what I'm saying? She was kind of embarrassed. I said, I'm glad. But I'd rather eat something that's cooked in saturated fat than cooked in vegetable oil. Because vegetable oils, think about it, they're not made to be heated. So if you buy something, an oil, and they process it, it's usually heated in the processing to get out the oils. So you're already having a rancid, oxidized oil. Now, oxidation is like the opposite of anti-aging. It's actually causing aging.
Rust.
It's rust. Exactly, a good example. It's rusting your body cells out and causing cancer cells, oxidation of your cells that causes accelerated early aging. And that's what you do when you buy a clear oil, sunflower, canola, safflower at the store. They're all overheated usually, and you're buying it like that. Plus, they're in clear containers. And so when it's a clear oil, vegetable oil in a container, clear container, what do you have shining through?
Yeah, radiation, UV rays.
Light, and UV radiation. But even the light from there oxidizes the oil. So now you're eating a highly oxidized oil that you can't even tell is oxidized. Now some of them you can tell, you can smell it, kind of taste bad, like it starts to smell like fuel. I can't remember the petroleum. It starts to smell, over time, but. So that is what I ate, Plus then you fry it at home, you overheat the oil at home, and then in my culture in Indonesia they reuse the oil that they use, the vegetable oil, and so I was eating that on a regular basis. French fries, I love French, and to this day I love fried foods. Anything that you can imagine frying. My grandmother, that was my comfort food from my grandmother to me. But by the time I was 20 and 30 years old, I started noticing issues, and it culminated when I just got married, and I got to the point where I had spots on the back of my skin. I had no energy. There were white spots. I thought I was born with it. I had it for so long, and then one day, gradually I started losing my energy at nighttime at 7 o'clock at Bible study. My brother, I started falling asleep. My brother said, at the end of the meeting, it's kind of rude, Paul. I couldn't help it. Anyways, I was losing my energy, and then it culminated when I couldn't eat. I was having pain. I couldn't sleep on my back because of pain in my digestive area. I had to sleep on one side only because the gallbladder was stretched out. Gallbladder is what digests fats, right here next to the liver, and it releases a substance called bile to digest the fats. But bile is also a detoxifier of the body. And so when people get their gallbladders taken out, it's just kind of like sludge. It's like tar in the gallbladder rather than loose bile that gets secreted, and it produces the smell in your bowel movement. I know it kind of sounds gross, and the smell, not necessarily the smell, but the color, the darkish greenish, that's bile. You want that to be in your stool, because if it's light yellow, you're not secreting bile, and you're heading towards a disaster with your gallbladder. So I turned it around. I didn't want to have gallbladder surgery. One day I woke up, I ate breakfast, and at lunchtime I go, I'm not hungry. I was so in pain here, bloated, that I just couldn't eat anything. And that was kind of like the icing on the cake. So I turned it around without surgery. I just used acupressure, herbs. It took me a couple of years to figure it out, and thousands of dollars to figure it out. But now I have my gallbladder. It's been like 15, 20 years, I don't know how long it's been so long, and I can still have fried foods when I want it. Can I abuse it again? Absolutely. Do I have a weak gallbladder? I do. It's a work in progress, but I can eat French fries anytime I want. I mean, if I eat it every single day and I went to In-N-Out every single day, that probably wouldn't be too happy. But I can eat as many fries as I want in one sitting. If I, go once a week, and then, but I make sure. So here's the thing: what do? You heal it first, and then you have to have the good oils, all the good fat-soluble vitamins. There are fat, oily vitamins like A, E, D, and K. Those are all fat-soluble vitamins. All the B vitamins and the C vitamins are all water-soluble. They just go pee out if you take too much. But the fat-soluble they store in your body, and you need good fat to replace bad fat. So what are the cells of your body made out of? Two things. You have three food sources of calories, and out of those three food sources you have two that make up body parts. So you have carbs, proteins, and fats. So what makes up body parts? The two.
Fat and protein.
Right, fat and protein. Every cell is made out of protein and fat. But if it's made out of bad fat, it's like putting sludge around the cell, like a saran wrap. And now there's no communication in and out of the cell. You want that mitochondria inside the cell, which is your powerhouse, your energy thing. I know you suffer with fatigue, so you want that to be communicating with the outside of the cell. The mitochondria is the powerhouse, and that needs to go through that cell membrane around the cell right here that's made out of protein and fat. And so if you're sludged, there's no communication, and inside the cell there's no communication. So communication is vital for life, not only with human relationships but with body relationship, right? So it's near and dear to my heart. So all that to say, eat good fat. So don't be afraid of saturated fats. Coconut oil being one of them. Butter, of course, everything's moderated. You can't. I mean, you can't eat a tub of butter. You just have a little, a teaspoon of butter, and it makes the food taste awesome, in my opinion. So you use the recipes to the way you need to for your benefit. But the other concept that most people aren't aware of is separation of the food groups is healthier, and you won't gain weight necessarily if you separate the food groups. And the two bad boys, they're not two bad boys, they're good individually, but when you put two naughty boys together, what do? You separate them out. So these aren't naughty, but if you put them together, they act badly together, which is the carbs and the fats. So think about what the processed foods have carbs and fats in there. Can you think of any bad foods that have carbs? Loaded with carbs and loaded with fat. Donuts, pizza, those are the big ones, like even cookies, but anything fried. So I think immediately donuts, pastries, things like that. Pastries aren't necessarily fried, but you got a load of carbs and you got a load of fats, and together they really are nasty. That's what causes plaquing on the arteries, is a combination of oxidized oil and sugar. And then think about barbecuing or when you overcook something, right? If you overcook a sugar, does it taste good? It tastes awesome. You overcook anything, and you kind of like slightly brown it. That makes it taste like, I love that kind of stuff. It's basically a burnt carb, and if you overburn it, it turns black, and then you can't eat it. But in between, you got that part that tastes awesome, and it's hard to stay away from because it tastes so good. It can be addicting. Sugar is already addicting, but you combine that sugar with a fried oil, now you've got a good taste too, in addition to that, and it becomes more addicting.
Like fried Twinkies?
You go to the Orange County Fair and get the fried Twinkies. Once in a while, it's fine.
So what are good oils to cook in? So you said coconut oil?
Anything that hardens when it gets cool. Okay, so coconut,
what about
butter,
avocado oil?
I haven't researched avocado oil a lot. You have to research
olive oil.
Okay, so you got to research the melting point, not the melting point, the smoke point.
Smoke point.
Once it starts smoking, you're burning the oil. You don't want that. So
I know avocado has a higher point because I've had it recommended because of that.
Yes.
Which I was like, whatever. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, basically it doesn't. When you start seeing it smoke, that's
well,
what
I understand that, but I mean, I understand the benefit of cooking my eggs, like whatever. My oil doesn't usually smoke before I cook eggs or whatever.
Yes.
So I usually use coconut oil. That's the main one that I use. Plus, you've recommended that having coconut oil in my diet. Anyway.
Yeah, butter. Do a little butter. You can do that. You can cook with that, or palm oil.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you, because you told me to stay away from cow milk.
Okay, unless you're sensitive to dairy. If you're sensitive to dairy, allergic to dairy,
I'm
then
not,
you won't be doing butter.
Well, I don't think I'm sensitive to it.
Then you can try a little bit.
But in the diet that you gave me, you told me. So I've been staying away from cow milk, and I just have like sheep or goat.
Okay.
Cheese if I have it.
Yeah, yeah.
But why is that?
Why should you avoid it?
So why is goat and sheep
better?
Cheese better than regular cow's milk cheese?
People are less sensitive to goat than they are to cow. That's number one. That's a sensitivity issue.
Okay.
That's the main issue when it comes to
cow. I
have
a lot of inflammations and stuff
right.
like that. So, okay.
Dairy, now, whatever kind of dairy, you got to think of the source. And goats are probably not. I think the industry treats goats differently. I'm not 100% sure on that. There's not a whole range of goat abuse, I don't think. But when you get to the abuse issue, there's cow abuse, literally. I mean, clearly there's cow abuse. I mean, they pump them up. They don't live that long. And in order to get them to make more money, they pump them with antibiotics, and they feed them with GMO corn. They make them more fat. They die in 2 years. Now you're eating bad fat, bad cow, right?
So if it's organic milk,
it's better if it's organic, but they pasteurize it. That's a whole other controversy. They now have ultra pasteurization. So why do they do that?
They don't do that to sheep and goats?
You have to read the labels. I'm not 100% sure on that, but think about why they do it. And I haven't read on this in a while, so
it must be dirty if they're pasteurizing it.
That's exactly it. They're trying to disinfect it pretty much.
Yeah.
And can you think about how much disease is basically treating cows, abusing them? There's so much disease there. I mean, they're living in their own poop. I mean, they don't clean that up. I'm sure they don't clean that up. I mean,
you could smell it if you go by a dairy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you got to consider the source. Number one, are they being treated well? And if they're being treated well, the grass-fed cows allowed to pasture. Same thing with chicken and with anything with sheep. You want to allow them to graze, right? Because God gave them grass for a reason. But now they're feeding them corn in lots. That's genetically modified corn. That makes them fat. Okay, so consider the source, and then once you get the final product, which is milk, do you want the fat or not? Good question. Most people say take out the fat, and I disagree. There's research out there. There's a lot of controversy. If you go to a place like Western Price Foundation, they believe in eating the whole milk. Better raw.
We've switched to whole milk.
Yeah. I mean, raw milk is hard to find, and you can find it at the health food store for like a quart for like $10. It's really super expensive. I've tried whole milk before, and I mean, I don't like drinking milk in general just because I'm allergic to milk, because I'm lactose intolerant. So the source, and then you got how do they process it. If it's pasteurized versus just raw, it's better because raw, you're not putting any heat to it, right? Which is denaturing the protein and causing all the enzymes to be destroyed. Enzymes are a key player for anything in life. Those enzymes eat up inflammation in the food. Okay, enzymes are located in vegetables and in food and raw food products. Okay, so when you eat it raw, it's better because the enzymes are still there. So now they work to kill bacteria, anti-inflammatory, kills cancer cells. So you want those enzymes not processed out through heat. And then so the end product should be unpasteurized, raw, whole milk if you're not sensitive to it. And better if you are sensitive, you can try goat milk. And even better if you're not sensitive, do kefir because it's fermented now, and now you've got increasing good bacteria. That's a whole nother topic, Kind of makes sense?
Mm-hmm. So we started with the oil.
Right.
So
then we went to milk.
Stay away from vegetable oils.
Yeah, it's okay to have olive oil, sautéing, and don't smoke it to the point where it starts. Don't heat it to the point where it starts smoking.
Okay.
But I pretty much stay away from any of the clear containers with oil in it. I just stay away from it.
So cooking at home, just go with fat, regular, lard or.
Regular. I mean, I like duck fat. I mean, if you really want it to be tasty, I love bacon fat. I mean, I don't recommend that all the time, but don't be afraid to do it every once in a while. Some diets they just eat bacon every day. I don't necessarily think that's healthy. But if you use butter on a daily basis, that's great. If you use coconut oil on a daily basis, that's great. And investigate the avocado oil. I think you're okay because it has a high melting point.
That's expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah.
The cheapest oils are and
we usually use coconut oil or olive oil.
Yeah, and the olive oil, the last thing is you just want to investigate a type of olive oil. I have a blog on my site, drquick.com, where you can see which oils are adulterated. And it goes into the whole oil industry, and I'm investigating now essential oils, because essential oils are healing, and so they can get easily adulterated. Put cheap oils with a good olive oil, right? But if you buy pure olive oil, you're spending bucks, like $20 minimum for a quart, of oil, versus you buying at Costco 11 for the organic, maybe $12 for half a gallon, right? So why is there such a big difference? It's usually because it's adulterated with cheaper oils. So you have to call the company. Do you put any other oils in?
Yeah, because the labels all say extra virgin. They all say the same thing.
Exactly, but you have to find out whether it's adulterated or not. So I think that's pretty much the big picture. Any other questions?
Nope.
Awesome. I'll see you on the next video.